Greetings if you're new to Windrose Fiber Studio. My name is Jen and these are my Fiber Artist Diaries. This is episode 7 and I've packed a lot into this one, so I hope you enjoy. Well, I guess I should start with first things first. I've promised myself and you that whenever I do a diary entry, I will share a selfie. So here is this episode selfie, which I took like maybe 5 minutes ago. So that's not me, 5 years ago or or even 5 days ago. That is me today. I'm just sitting here playing with yarn to give me something to do while I talk to you. You know how stacking rocks is meditative? I feel like stacking yarn could also be a thing. A nice meditative thing. So I've been really excited for this week because I promised myself that after I uploaded my last tutorial, I was just going to let myself like just shamelessly play and do things that I've been wanting to do for a while. I called myself Windrose Fiber Studio back in the day because I'm not just a crocheter. I kind of like all fiber arts. I liked everything to do with yarn and wool and spinning and weaving and dyeing, all of it. And so I just wanted to play, give myself some play days. So that's totally what I'm doing right now. I tend to like put piles on this dining room table. And I guess a couple of my piles are possible colorways for when I finally, let me go get it. When I finally make the tutorial for the telescoping pencil case. So I'm kind of liking these 3 colors together. I do think they would show up well on film. Good contrast to the oak table that I work on out here. I also really like the earth tones, and then I thought I could bring in this more burgundy base and then bring in a hit of color with this blue. And I like that, and honestly, these are colors that I personally like a bit more. So which colorway should I do? This one or this one? There is an event that happens just 4 times a year in Tucson, and it's called the Vegan Night Market. It takes place at the Heirloom Farmers Market, known to locals as the Racetrack. Here you'll find amazing food, live music, and just all around good vibes. I always look for a good rice or noodle bowl. Bibimbap was my choice, and I kind of ate half of it before it occurred to me to take a picture. On this particular night, we took shelter because just as the sun was setting, some dark clouds rolled in and put on quite a lightning show. Somehow we had just enough time to scarf down our food and walk home before the first fat drops of rain began to fall. What is even happening right now? This is not crochet, nor is it weaving or spinning. I have just kind of wanted to teach myself how to embroider for a very long time. When I was a little girl, I watched my mother do a lot of embroidery, but then embroidery kind of came back on my radar in a big way right after I started on Etsy. I opened my store in 2008, and right after that, felting became very popular. There were some needleworkers who would take felted fabric and do the prettiest embroidery on them. I've also always been really drawn to any kind of fashion with embroidered details. So this is just me deciding to go ahead and learn something that I've been intrigued by and interested in for years and years and years. After shopping around for a bit, I found this kit and it just seemed like the perfect way for me to get started. It's actually a kit that comes with 3 different designs, and each design has different stitches on it, and you can practice those stitches carrying different numbers of threads. It goes as far as to provide a QR code that you can scan, and then that will take you to a video showing you how to create each one of the stitches. I swear I'm really not trying to sell you this kit. I just didn't know anything like this existed, and I was really excited to find it. I think that by the time I'm finished working up these samplers, I'll be feeling a lot more comfortable with the stitches, but I will also have these as a reference. I'm thinking I might just go ahead and frame them in embroidery hoops and put them on the wall, and that way, anytime I forget a stitch, it'll be hanging up right there on the wall for me to look at and reference in the future. On a side note, I also think this would make a really good camping activity. I'm looking forward to taking this kit with me on our last camping trip of the season. It's always so exciting to learn something new, and if you can combine it with something else that you love, well, that's just a bonus. Trusting your instincts, realize that knowing looks different to each. When living authentic, do more exploring, deeper than knowing just what is essential for life that is thriving. Go deep, mute out the chatter, feel it, burn off the fire, let go until there's peace to your core. Live a life you adore. Yourself all that's standing. Live free from worry. Live by just being. Power in finding your wholeness in now. Go deep, mute out the chatter. Feel it, burn off the fire. Another craft that I have been longing to try is tablet weaving, also known as card weaving. I have used rigid heddles and soft heddles, and even just picking my rows with a weaving needle, but I've always wanted to try tablet weaving. For my first project, I'm following a tutorial by Eloise of Finchingfeld. Her YouTube channel is a great place to start if you've ever thought about tablet weaving yourself. I selected the Lemmon pattern. This dates back to the 10th century and was found in Lemmon, Denmark. That appeals to me because I happen to be of Scandinavian descent, and so I am a sucker for anything from the homeland. What you're watching me do right now is warp the loom for the first card or tablet. This is my first time ever doing this in this life, and I am leaning heavily on Eloise here. I am also feeling almost unreasonably awkward. It's like I've never warped an inkle loom before in my life, when in reality I have warped this loom quite a few times. It's so funny how being new at something or a beginner can just fill you with levels of anxiety and self-doubt. Here is what an individual tablet or card looks like. It's made from heavyweight paper. Eloise likens it to a beer coaster, which I do believe is a very good comparison. The cards have a hole in each corner that are labeled A, B, C, and D, and it's through these holes that we will be threading our warp threads. How many threads and which direction you weave them through the card is determined by your pattern. Here is the schematic that I'm following to warp the inkle loom for the Lemmon pattern. The A, B, C, and D on the left side of the schematic correspond to the holes on each tablet. The numbers above 1 through 16 represent each card, so this pattern uses a total of 16 tablets. The letters below, S and Z, represent the direction from which you will be threading the warp threads through your card. If it is an S, and the first card that I'm getting ready to thread right now is an S, you're going to insert your warp threads from back to front through the tablet. I have to say that the symbols they're using to represent S and Z are really messing me up as a spinner. I'm used to thinking of these letters in terms of plying and twist, and they are literally going in the opposite direction of an S twist and a Z twist. So I'm having to remind myself this is not plying yarn. This is just the direction I'm inserting these threads through. So S is back to front, Z is front to back. I need to figure out a new association so that these symbols make sense to me. As you can see, I'm still relying heavily on Eloise here. I wasn't sure if it mattered the order through which I threaded these warp threads through the holes. I am basically going to follow Eloise. Whatever she's doing, I'm doing. Now that I have my first tablet threaded onto the warp threads, there's nothing left to do but to secure them with a surgeon's knot, and then I can move on, and I have 15 more cards to go. Now, if I showed this to you in real time, we would be here for a long time. So I have decided to use the time-lapse function for the first time ever on my channel. Sometimes I use fast forward, but I have literally never used time-lapse before, so this is another new thing for me today. And let me tell you, I wish I could do it as fast in real time as it happens on this time-lapse. In reality, it probably took me about 45 minutes to warp the loom, maybe a little less. I took a long time with that first card, and then I got into a little bit of a groove, although at one point I did have to I had to go back and fix one of the warp threads that I had wrapped around a peg in the wrong direction. I don't even know how I did that, but I just think I got so in my head that I was making simple mistakes. I have also seen Eloise stabilize her cards by inserting a pencil through one of the corner holes, so I ran off to find a pen or a pencil, and I ended up using a smudge stick. It was just the perfect size. The cards in the middle do tend to want to lean at an angle because they only each have 2 threads, and some of them are A and C, and some of them are B and D. I am trying to be super careful about whether these cards are each individually S or Z threaded, but I will probably go back and double check each one before I actually start to weave. It would be very depressing if my pattern was ruined because I threaded a card incorrectly. And thank you, time-lapse filming, because I have already finished my warp. I guess that probably seemed like a long time, even in time-lapse, in the world of YouTube videos. So if you're still hanging with me, hello and thank you. I probably won't get to the weaving in this diary episode just because this video is starting to get a little bit on the long side. I will definitely share that in the next episode, and if I get a little bit of weaving done before that, I will share a picture the next time I do a community post. So if you subscribe, you'll get a little peek at what this Lemmon pattern looks like. It's always hard to get scarves on camera in a way that they look nice. Oh, well, it would help if it was right side up. So I think I made this here. I have my own pattern because I'm kind of revealing the pattern. So this is a pattern I published in 2013. And at the time, I was really into playing with layers. I still love playing with layers. So this was called, or is called, the Layers of Lace Wraparound Scarf Pattern. And it really is a pretty scarf. I'd also just gotten back from Europe and everyone was wearing triangle scarves and wrapping them around and tying them in front. I don't know if I can simulate that. Oh, I just threw this on and it happens to look really chic. But I really did enjoy this project, and I still love these colors. And I have this thing, because I've been designing for a long time, where if I revisit a pattern, none of the yarns are made anymore. And this is a case where Cascade is still making all of these yarns. My favorite one is out of stock, of course, which is kind of this lighter, more magenta purple. So I can't get all three of them right now. But this Abril, colorway of purples is really pretty, and then this deeper purple. But I love the, I kind of love all of these purples together. I've been playing around with the idea of having this be an upcoming pattern, and I also just really wanted to try it. These are all fingering and lace weight, which I really do love, but I also thought it would be fun to kind of try it in maybe worsted and DK, which I feel like are yarn weights that kind of everyone already has in their stash and that people are really comfortable working with. Just playing with different yarn weights. I don't know if I'll end up presenting it in medium and DK or if I'll go back to using a fingering weight yarn. So this is Ferris wheel, and this one is called Imaginary Garden. And I really do like these colors. And one thing I like with this scarf is the idea of doing a variegated yarn in the back and then a solid in the front, and then having all these colors peek through. So I think that would be fun. And then I like to have like an accent stripe, something that, is harmonious but not spot on, adds a little bit of friction. And so this blue isn't exactly the blue from the Ferris wheel, so it kind of pops out in the design. So this is kind of in development, and I just want to work it up. I've actually got some yarn on order that's really similar to this color that I think I want to put in the front and just see how that looks. But this is definitely, probably what I'll do after I do that telescoping pencil case. So this is in development for the channel. And, I'd be interested in knowing if you work with a lot of lace or fingering weight, or if you happen to be more comfortable crocheting in DKs or worsted weights. Because, I always like to present patterns in a way that feels comfortable to everyone. So let me know what kinds of, what weights you're comfortable working in, or if you just kind of like it all, which I can relate to, definitely. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I enjoy sharing the things that I'm working on around here at the studio, and I would love to hear about your projects as well. What are you working on, and have you recently started anything new? Please hit like and subscribe, and let's share our love of fiber arts together. Once again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.